Okay. Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining. We will discuss the market indexes, the US market indexes and the Canadian market indexes, and we will be looking at the stocks or ETFs that people on the call are holding or have requested, and so that it helps in planning your trade in the coming weeks, uh, especially those who are doing active trading. So we'll first start with the SPX index, S&P 500 index, and on the weekly trend, um, if you see, last week has had a green candle, which was a change in trend. If you look from the last 8 weeks, last week has given a reversal on the indicator. This Williams R indicator, if you see, it has shown a clear reversal. Um, the 200 EMA on the weekly trend was a strong support, and market pulled it just above the 200 EMA, which is a positive sign. Um, the bullish move on Tuesday last week, it has made it go above even the 100 EMA, which shows strong upward reversal. If you look on the daily chart, so this was a big bullish move that I mentioned. Um, so it was the midweek that it had made that move, and in terms of the volatility, the market is still uh, trying to digest the Trump's tariff stand on. This move was because of the 90 days tariff pause, and then there has been counter tariff from China. So the trade war has escalated, which has caused the market to still accept the um, current macro level economic situation that we are. The positive side is that on the last day, it has still given a green closing, and with the current levels, you can expect S&P 500 to reach the mid Bollinger band in the coming week, 5,500. Currently, it is at 5,363. So another about 150 points. And since there was a gap down, if the bullish sentiment continues, you can expect this gap closing. So the low of this candle, 5,571, it could try to make an attempt to close this gap. There's there are two EMAs which are merging here, and on the daily chart is EMA 200 and EMA 50, which could also be the next strong resistance for those who are trading the S&P index. So overall, in the short term, the coming week, if you look on the Williams R as well, the indicator is based on the last day's closing is showing a bullish trend. So for the short term, those who are taking active trades, it's a bullish move for the coming week. However, be cautious in terms of taking the positions, and you could trade with a close stop loss. If you are taking just 1 or 2 days trade, a last session's stop loss, or if you are taking swing trade, then the lower Bollinger Band at 5,000. or few points lower can be your stop loss. We look on the slight lower interval of 4 hour. You can see the market is bullish. So with this move in the last 3-4 hour candles, it shows that we can expect Monday to be a bullish day unless some bad news comes out in terms of tariff or there's discussions that has happened between US and Iran for the nuclear um, deal that Iran wants to hold and US doesn't want them to. So far the discussion has been positive, which if it doesn't change, then we can still expect Monday to be a green day. Moving to the next index, NASDAQ 100, starting on the weekly interval. You can see a similar pattern that's formed on the NASDAQ 100, similar to what we saw on SPX. The last week's green candle has a reversal on the weekly trend. The two EMAs are marching at 1900-665, which could be the next resistance. With the current move, it did touch the 5 EMA. So the next is this 10 EMA and EMA 50. These two could form the next resistance on the weekly interval. On daily trend, again similar to what we saw on SPX, this big green candle, it took resistance on the mid Bollinger Band, and with the last candle it also has a upward trend which can face resistance again at the mid Bollinger Band level, which is at as of now it is at 1900-140, which means another 250 points, close to 250 points. It could move in the coming week, with the next session also appearing to be bullish on NDX as well. If we look on the 4-hour chart, then the last three candles, with the last candle closing above upper Bollinger Band, indicating uptrend. So both these major indexes, with the closing that it has had on the weekly and daily trend, shows coming week to be bullish for the short term trades, for those who are taking active trades. Any questions for either of these two indexes before we go to TSX? All right. So there are no questions, then I'll take to TSX. And since Webull doesn't show the TSX index, I'll take it on the Yahoo Finance. So for TSX, it has taken support on the EMA 100 and the last two closings have been on the weekly interval. It has formed green candles, which is positive in terms of the market trend for the short term to be bullish. And if you look at last week's candle, it has almost formed a green marubazu. And the next resistance level, we can expect the moving average 50 and moving average 5 to merge close to this level of 23,887 or 22,900. That could be the next resistance on the weekly interval. If we look on the daily chart, this EMA 200 can be the resistance, first resistance, which is at 24 to 27, and then the next EMS, depending upon how strong the bullish move is, it could break this resistance to move further up. But for now, at least the start of the week, Monday and even potentially Tuesday, you can expect it to reach this level of 24 to 70 or 24 go or expected to go about 24 to 75. So all three indexes in the short term looks good for trading long positions, basically bullish positions for a short term. Make sure that you do use stop loss and book your profits. If your 5% or 10% target reaches, make sure to book your profits. In terms of the indexes for the short term are bullish. So the that's the overall view on the major US and the Canadian index. Any questions? I'm asking to make sure that if there are anyone joining, I do get chance to admit them as well. Are we good? All right, so that's good. Then we will move on to some of the requests. If you have requests, you can put in the chat. I'll start off with some of the requests that has been made in our WhatsApp groups or in direct message to me. So I'll start off with some of the requests that has come from Farhaz, who is one of our GMT member, and he has requested for NVDA, Tesla, MKSL, and Qualcomm. So mostly the large cap stocks. So I'll start off with NVDA. All right. So for NVDA, the last week's candle has formed a big bullish engulfing candle. See, the red candle was completely engulfed by the last green candle. Just a minute, I'm trying to admit someone who's trying to join. The last week's candle has engulfed the previous week's candle. The Williams R has moved up. So bullish move for Nvidia in the last week, which we can expect it to move further up. Although the high of the last week had almost touched these two EMA levels, EMA 50 and EMA 10, which is close to 116. And in the last week, it made a high of, if you look the last week's high, it had almost uh, touched that level. With this closing, you can expect it to move further up, and the next resistance levels could still be 116 in the immediate sessions early in the week. And if the bullish trend continues, the next target level, the mid Bollinger Band, is downwards. As of now, it is at 128. So you can expect it to come down to the resistance at this level close to 123. 123 or 125 could be your next resistance on the weekly interval. From the daily chart, the mid Bollinger Band has still not flattened yet, but since the closing has taken resistance at the mid Bollinger Band, uh, you can be slightly watchful at the start of session tomorrow, or even in the pre-market, to see that it breaks this resistance at 110 and moves further up. If it is facing resistance, then be cautious in terms of entering into a new position. If it breaks this resistance, then yes, you can enter for the next levels, 119 and 125, which we discuss on the weekly interval. And upper Bollinger Band is also close to that 126, which can bend slightly downwards to be at the resistance level that we saw on the weekly trend. In terms of the indicator, it's showing the uptrend, although it had reached with the move that it had on Wednesday, it almost touched the overbought region, but then it was sold and then reversed up. Uh, Based on the indicator, it appears it's getting into the overbought zone in the daily interval. However, it also depends on the overall market trend, which for the short term, as we are seeing bullish, it could break this resistance. But if you are already on Nvidia and you are looking to book profits, then try to book your profit when it reaches these resistance levels. For entering new, wait for the clear market direction for entering into the Nvidia. At least looking on the daily chart. Based on the weekly chart, it does form a bullish trend, but on the weekly chart, based on the indicator, it is since it is touching the overbought region, it would be good to be cautious in terms of entering new position. Let me add RSI as well. With the RSI being close to 50, it still has an upward move, or the higher resistance is still possible since the RSI has turned upward as well. Um, So from the market position itself, market could still be bullish, and you could hold on to your positions until it reaches the higher resistance levels. Since we are discussing NVDA, those who are trading the corresponding ETF, NVDL, on the weekly trend, it has formed a bullish engulfing as well. If you look, it has crossed the 200 EMA, it touched the 5 EMA, so the next resistance level would be these two EMS merging close to $43. That could be the next target on the weekly interval if you have entered into a swing position or for a short term interval as well. The Williams RNCCI have reversed clearly with a bullish direction, so that's positive. You look on the daily chart, again similar to what we saw for Nvidia, the indicators have turned up. It faced resistance on the mid Bollinger Band. If it breaks the mid Bollinger Band resistance, then the next levels could be your target. So if you are planning to enter, then if it goes above 39, or 39 could be your buy level, or if you want to increase your positions as well, with a stop loss at low of this, which is uh, the low was 31.7, and with higher targets as 45. The EMA here is 53, but you could look for close to $53 as your second level of profit if the market shows the bullish trend after it breaks the resistance at the mid Bollinger Band. If mid Bollinger Band forms resistance and is selling, then you should wait for it to uh, drop further, and the lower Bollinger Band level of 27.5 or even 28, when it takes support and moves up, that could be your next entry point for the short term trade. Hi Faraz, we discuss NVDA, which you can watch in the recording, and then we covered NVDL, which is an ETF. I understand that you would not be trading, but for those who are trading with the ETF and NVDA. So the next one that was requested was Tesla. Before moving to Tesla, any question for NVDA or NVDL? Anyone holding NVDA or NVDL?
Yeah, Kamal, I'm holding.
Okay. What was your entry price, Vivek?
Kamal, like I entered in the CDR version.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
around. I don't recollect. Just give me a second. Yeah, I'll let you know. My phone is not with me.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I will let you know.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah. So for those who are in Canada, you could also trade the CDR version of these large cap stocks, so that first it saves the commission if you are trading with Well Simple. Um, And secondly, if you are planning to hold for longer term, you could buy more quantity in lesser stock price.
I entered around 25, man.
Okay,
So
that
that's close to the reversal area.
close to the
Yeah.
bottom price.
Yeah.
And so the one listed on NEO is the Canadian version of the large cap stocks. Those are in CDR
And they also have
dividend.
NVIDIA ETF in CDR, which pays good dividend also. Okay.
Yeah, that's another advantage of
Yeah.
trading the CDR with uh, lower price. As you can see, it's $25, and then you can get dividends as well if you are planning to hold for medium to long term. Yeah, so 25 is a good entry point, and you can hold for, if you are planning to hold for longer term, then the level 28 or even upper Bollinger Band, once it bends currently because it's downward. 27 is EMA 50, and then
26.3, no?
27 is the EMA 50, and then 29.5 is the upper Bollinger Band. On the weekly trend, the EMA 50 and mid Bollinger Band are merging, which seems to be a strong resistance, which is 29 could be the target if you are planning to close some positions and uh, wait for re-entry. Yeah. But 25 seems to be a good entry for holding if you are planning to hold for longer term as well. All right. Any question for NVDA and the Nasdaq or Canadian?
So for Nvidia, at my place, it is showing value of around I think 0.67 dollars. I don't know which one you're checking out on.
Yeah. So just before you joined, we discussed the NVDA, which is on Nasdaq. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah. The one which we were discussing was Canadian CDR. So
Okay.
yeah, in terms of the analysis, what I was mentioning before you joined is that if it breaks this resistance at the mid Bollinger Band at 110,
Mhm.
then uh, the next target levels would be 119 and 125. If it faces resistance, then wait for it to uh, drop down and buy near the lower Bollinger Band.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow overall indexes appears bullish, so it could break this resistance, but if it doesn't, then wait for it to drop before entry.
So we can get entry tomorrow, before that only, right? No.
Yeah, if it breaks this resistance, then even at 110 or 111 for higher target levels, 119 and 125 could be an entry. You should watch pre-market before the market opens, whether has it's trading above 111 or it is facing resistance and dropping down. Based on the overall index trend, it could be uh, trading above 111 tomorrow in the pre-market. Just watch based on that if you are not already on it.
And for long term, how long we should be holding it?
Because of the market trend, it's still better to hold for short term for the uh, first and second resistance levels, um, because the tariff is paused for 90 days, and we would have major stocks earnings within 15 to 30 days. That would be the volatile period, and then markets could again be in a bullish trend. Sorry, a bearish trend. So
Okay.
right now, take positions for short term for few weeks, and when the resistance are reached, book your profits, and then you can be on cash for re-entering when the prices drop or the market takes bearish trend.
Okay.
If you look
Thanks.
on the weekly chart from past 8 weeks or even more, it has been on the bearish trend, and now what we have seen last week is a upward move in a bearish trend. And when that happens, the nearest resistance levels become strong resistance. So a bullish move is not the bullish move is doesn't break all the previous resistances,
Okay.
and the overall market trend can still be bearish with this short term bullish move, and the nearest resistance could be good time to book your profits so that you have cash to re-enter at smaller or lower prices.
Okay.
Okay, so in short, not a good time to enter for longer term positions. This trend is good for short to medium term bullish
Okay.
positions. All right, so we will go next request again from Faraz for Tesla. So Tesla on the weekly chart, it has taken support on the 200 EMA, which is a strong support on the weekly trend. And the indicators, Williams RSI have turned upward. Uh, its next resistance would be 285, and one here at 320, and then 345. So Tesla looks better in terms of at least from the weekly trend for holding longer compared to what we discussed for Nvidia based on the weekly chart. Now, looking on the daily chart, it's currently at the mid Bollinger Band. Just expand it for everyone. With the lower price rejection that it has had yesterday, uh, the mid Bollinger Band price is good for those who are currently holding and would like to increase your position, or even entering at the current price of uh, close to 250, guys. For the higher levels, upper Bollinger Band here is close to 286, which we discussed as one of the resistance as well on the weekly trend. So again, based on the indexes, if the trend appears bullish in the pre-market, it looks good for entry tomorrow. For the fresh positions, do keep stop loss. If you are entering at the mid Bollinger Band, then the stop loss of 235 or lower for your entry at 250, for the target of 285, and on the weekly trend we saw the 285 is the nearest target based on the weekly and the daily chart as well. So about $15 stop loss for a $35 target, which is good risk to reward ratio as well.
Okay.
So between the two, Tesla looks good in terms of entering, and just for those who would be trading the ETF, for TSLL, the 200 EMA and other EMAs are close to this level of 16, which could be the next resistance. Currently, it is at $8, 840. The Williams R and RSI both have reversed, which shows that it's good for entry even at the current price. For EMA 5, it had already touched last week, and EMA 10, which is at 1260, could be the first target. The second target would be at 15, and third target at 16. Yes, Vivek.
Kamal, can you look YTSL, the same Tesla but in Canadian ETF?
Yeah, sure. So
Thanks.
I'll just complete the analysis on the daily chart for TSLL, and then we can go to YBSL. Yeah, I'll just expand. So for TSLL, it has closed below the lower Bollinger Band. So just be cautious in the pre-market and the first half tomorrow. If it closes above the mid Bollinger Band, which is currently at 924, so if it breaks this mid Bollinger Band resistance, then it's good to enter for the resistance that we discussed on the weekly chart, and also on the daily chart. Upper Bollinger Band is at 12. So 12, 13, and 15 could be the short-term trade with TSLL. But for confirmation in terms of reversal, you can wait for it to break the mid Bollinger Band resistance and to go further up. In terms of the Williams R and CCI, especially RSI, if you look, it is just at 42, which means it can go further up as well. The RSI, since it has flattened and it has formed a doji candle in the last session, I'm suggesting to be watchful in the pre-market or even in the initial first 2 hours of the market. If it breaks this resistance, then it's good to enter for the higher levels. And we'll quickly take what is the code YBSL? Vivek, what's the code for Tesla?
Sorry?
What's the ticker?
YTSL.
YTSL.
Why do I feel like I would rather?
Okay, this we are looking on the weekly trend. So even with the current price, the next resistance, which is EMA 50, is at close to 21. So even if it moves by $4, it gives you 25% return in matter of few weeks, because this we are looking on the weekly trend. And then the mid Bollinger Band is downward. It's currently at 2460. If it moves up, then 25, this level where previously it had taken support, and this could be the resistance. So 2450 could be your next target if it goes above 21. And because it's on weekly trend, it could take few weeks or even months before reaching those levels. The upper Bollinger Band here is 1925. As I mentioned for TSLL, if it breaks this mid Bollinger Band resistance, then the uh, upper Bollinger Band and the resistance that we discussed on the weekly chart could be your targets. 1925, and this is at 22. These are your short-term targets if you're looking for shorter term trades. But in terms of entry, at the current price, and as we discussed last week as well, uh, Tesla is a good stock to hold, and if it's ETFs, if you are planning to hold even for longer term, this is currently at a attractive price if you look on the monthly trend as well. The downside is way lesser compared to the upside, so the risk to reward is quite in favor in terms of the Tesla ETFs. Okay, Vivek, did you have any specific question for this YTSL?
No,
Or if,
man, it's a very high yield dividend stock. So almost 40%. So monthly. So just have it. Most people don't know this, right? Just because this very recently came. So I'm just letting you.
yeah, yeah, that's good. Thanks, Vivek, for sharing. So for those who are looking for good dividend yield, so it's monthly dividend, 55 cents on a $16 stock. So in terms of dividends, it's a good stock to good ETF to hold for a longer period. With the current price, even the upside is quite good, and then dividends is an add-on on that. All right, so we'll take the next request. MKSL. Is it MKSI for us? The next request that he had. All right, meanwhile, we'll take AMD. The weekly. On the weekly chart, AMD has reversed. Williamsons and CCI has reversed. It has uh, formed a green candle on the last week, closed above the lower Bollinger Band. At the current level, it's good to enter with the last week high. It made at EMA 5, so EMA 10, which is at 102, could be the first level that it would try to reach in terms of the weekly closing. And the EMA 200 and mid Bollinger Band at 113 would be your first resistance, weekly resistance. Then 128 would be the second weekly resistance. And if the bullish move continues, then 140. But for now if you are entering at the current level, 114, the mid Bollinger Band is 113.5 and EMA 200 is 14. So 114 could be your first target and second at 128. In terms of the daily trend, on the daily chart also the indicators are showing bullish move with the 100 as the mid Bollinger Band, which could be the first resistance on the daily interval. So with AMD, even with the current level, it looks good to enter. You could have low of this candle as your stop loss, and the low was 85. So buy around 93.50 for the first target of 100, second target 114, which we saw on the weekly chart, and then the third target could be 128. I'll suggest to book profits on 75% of your positions at 113, 114, and keep 25% for 128 if the market continues upward. But for entry, this looks good for entering either in the pre-market or start of market open tomorrow. And with the AMD's move, because AMD forms bigger portion to SOXL, which is semiconductor index, you can expect similar move for SOX index as well. Since I mentioned, let me take the part. Let's take Qualcomm first, which is another major stock in the SOXX index. All right, so for Qualcomm as well, you can see similar pattern. The Williams RCCI has reversed. It has formed a green candle. It took resistance at 200 EMA and has closed above that, which shows that market is bullish and you can expect it to go further up. With Qualcomm, it has touched the 5 EMA in the last week. So if it reverses up, the 10 EMA of 150 and then mid Bollinger Band of 157.5 or 158 could be the second target based on the weekly trend. If you look on the daily charts, both Williams and RSI has reversed up. Its mid Bollinger Band is at 148.79. There is a small gap, if you can notice. So it can close this gap, which is at the one here was 150.79 and 150 we saw target on the weekly chart as well. So at the pre-market or start of market tomorrow, it's good to buy at 139. And again, the low of this candle could be the stop loss, which is at 129 for the first target of 150 and second target close to 158. This one EMA 200 is at 160, which could be your last target if you're entering at the current levels. So both of these semiconductor stocks, AMD and Qualcomm, looks good for entry at the start of the market. Because of the current market volatility, make sure that you enter with a close stop loss. All right, so next I'm going to take MKSI because MKSL is on the in indicators. Williams R and CCI both were in oversold position and have reversed up with the last week's trading. It has closed above the previous week's close and has touched the lower Bollinger Band. It had some upward price rejection, which we can check at the on the daily chart. In terms of the indicators have shown upward trend. And if you are entering or have entered at the current levels, the next target could be at 184, and then the mid Bollinger Band is close to EMA 200. All the EMAs are merging around this level. So mid Bollinger Band is at 99.5, and that can be your second target, and third target could be the EMA 200, which is at 106.94. You can target for $1 lesser around 105, just to make sure that your order executes. Yeah, the upward rejection we saw on the weekly chart was because of the last two sessions. It has had a lower it, it dropped down in terms of the uh, low the price that it move that it had on Wednesday. However, the indicators are still bullish. So if it's trading above 65.50, which was the case in the aftermarket, in terms of entering at the current price, at least based on the indicators, it looks good to enter. Even if you are entering at 66.50, mid Bollinger Band price of 78, 78.50 could be your first target, as there is a small, very minor gap here, which it could try to close. That could be your first target, and then the EMA at 86 and the levels that we discussed on the weekly chart. Your final target could be the 100, which is the EMA mid Bollinger Band, and then EMA 200, your 106. But this for the third target of 105 or 106, just keep a smaller quantity if you are preferring to hold. Book majority of your positions at the mid Bollinger Band near 100. So looking at these three semiconductor stocks, because it has dropped a lot, there's good buying opportunity for this week for holding it for short-term trades or even for short-term swing trades. Now that we covered these, I will quickly take SOX index as well, since we discussed some of these semiconductor stocks. Yeah, if for SOX, the Williams R and RSI have clearly reversed. It has closed above the 200 EMA, which is a strong support. It touched the EMA 5, and market had dropped a bit on Thursday, and then it has started picking up on Friday, which we'll see on the daily chart. But then resistance levels to look for SOX, currently it is at 3990. 470, which is about 500 points upward move, and the mid Bollinger Band at around 4840. That could be the strong resistance for SOX. On the daily trend, the indicators have turned up, and mid Bollinger Band could be your, if you are entering in the pre-market or at the start of market, could look for mid Bollinger Band as the first resistance, and then higher resistance levels based on what we discuss on the weekly chart. And the EMA 200 is at 4800, which is close to 900 points. So it could quickly give a good bullish move for the short term. And for those who are trading its ETF, on the weekly indicators, RSI, Williams are both were in oversold region and have reversed up. So the current price level of 1025 is still good if we are looking at the weekly EMA levels, which could form your small resistances. Buy at around 1025 with 14 as the first target. The next target could be 18. Its EMA is much higher, which is 27. You could hold some positions for that, but because it's a weekly interval, so this could take few weeks to even couple of months. If you are taking quick trades or short-term trades with SOXL, with both the indicators on the daily chart showing slight upward move as well, as you can see here, Williams R and RSI has moved upward based on the last Friday's trading session. So with the current buy prices, first profit booking could happen at close to 11,990, which is the EMA 10, and then there is a small gap here, and mid Bollinger Band could be the next target, 1560. Could keep target of 1550. If it reaches that level with the current buy price, it's a 50% profit. And with the SOXL's move and looking at the volume, over 400 million volume on a daily interval, it gives movement quite fast. So for those who are active trading, it could be a good opportunity to take a quick short-term trade and book profits at the uh, resistance at the mid Bollinger Band. Seems to be a possibility with higher seems to be a probability which it can reach within a few weeks, especially with the earnings uh, around few weeks time. This looks to be a good potential trade to take either in the pre-market or at the start of the market. For those who would like to enter, let's see, loads. $997 and $988. So $990 or even $10 could be a good entry price for those who are looking to take quick trades or short-term trade with SOXL. In terms of the stop loss, so the low of this candle was at 835. So buy buy around $10 with a stop loss of 830 for first target $12 or 11.90 and second target of $15 for those who are going to take a quick trade. And if the trend continues, you could look for higher targets as well. But 15 seems to be a target that's highly probable in the short term. All right, so that's for SOXL. Any questions from anyone?
No, Kamal.
Yes, Kamal.
Great. All right, so SOXL and TSLL we have covered. So Hemal has request for Apple, PLTR, and EBT.
No, it's APP, man.
APP.
Yeah, that's a different one. It's Apple and something. Yeah.
Okay. APP on the indicators, it was in oversold and the indicators have reversed up. It has had a green closing last week. Its high was has not engulfed the previous week's high. However, since the indicators have reversed up, it could still be considered for a bullish move. The only thing to be watchful is that its EMA 100 and 200 are still further down. So with the current price, the last week's trend has given a reversal, but in terms of downside, it does still have further downside. So when the market reverses bearish further, it could reach those levels, the one that EMA 100 and 200 has currently. If you look on the daily chart, the last two candles have shown a bearish trend. So, and that is clearly visible on the Williams R and RSI as well. So, although it took support on the EMA 200 on the daily chart, the indicators have not reversed up. And looking at the weekly EMAs, I would keep this aside, keep this in still in watch list, knowing that there are other stocks that we discussed are better opportunities compared to this one. Because in terms of risk, this has higher risk of dropping quicker to the EMA 50 and EMA 100 levels. In terms of the upside, it does have a good upside as well from the current price of close to 250 to the EMA 10 of 295. It's about $45 upside and then another for 40 odd dollar upside on the weekly mid Bollinger Band. But in terms of the risk, I see that this has higher risk to reward potential compared to the other ones. So as of now, I'll suggest to just keep this in watch list instead of entering. Next is PLTR. Awesome. So this is a good stock which we had discussed earlier, that it's a good stock to hold for the long term. You look its weekly trend, could be another stock in future which could be like Apple. So for its weekly trend, it's clearly it has formed a bullish engulfing. The uh, Williams R and RSI last week was Williams R was in oversold region and has had a strong reversal. RSI was close to 50 and has acted as a support, and it has had a reversal. Lower Bollinger Band, mid Bollinger Band upward, indicating it has potential to go up again. If you look on the daily chart, the Wednesday's move, it almost touched the overbought region on the daily chart, and then has fallen a bit and has become almost flat. So with the daily trend, if you are planning to enter the mid Bollinger Band, which almost acted as support, or it touched those levels and market pulled it up, that could be a good price for entering. 86.78 or 86.80. That you should enter with a strong stop loss. If you are planning to enter this for medium to longer term, yeah, this stop loss suggests to consider the low of this one. So if it drops and takes support at the lower Bollinger Band at 75.40, you are still on the trade. The low of this one was 71.90, uh, which is like almost $18. But if you look at the upside is $12. So the risk to reward is not in favor with the current buy price. Then maybe if you are still willing to enter the trade, then uh, EMA 100, which is at 79. So entry around 86 with stop loss at 79, which would be the $7 stop loss for the target of 98 or even 100. 98 as the first target and 110 as the second target. Yeah. With this big green candle, if you are planning to enter for medium to long term, you could take some quantity of position. For short term trade, I already mentioned, but for medium to long term, uh, put some quantity, not uh, entire amount, entire capital, because of the overall market volatility and the recession anticipations. Prefer to take swing trade or short to medium term trade, and for longer term, put only small quantity. All right. So the next one is BBDB. This would be on TSX. Here.
Bombardier.
Yeah, I was also selecting Bombardier, it would be this one, .to. All right, Bombardier, this is monthly. Let me take to the weekly interval. Okay, nice. So Bombardier looks to have taken support on the lower Bollinger Band and has reversed up. I haven't added the indicator, but I can add for you. So Williams are fine. So it has taken support on last to last week on the lower Bollinger Band and has moved up. So if you have already entered or if you are planning to enter, it looks good for current price to go above the current level and 8870, that's the mid Bollinger Band, and EMA 50 is at slightly above that price of 8091. Let me expand so it's visible. That's on the weekly chart, and if the trend continues, then the highs that it had formed at these levels, 105 could be the last target. Let's see on the daily chart. On the daily chart, it has had a closing close to the mid Bollinger Band. If you are already on it, you could still hold it for the upper Bollinger Band as the target 89, which we saw is closer to the one of the target that we discussed on the weekly interval as well. Himal, have you entered it or are you planning to enter?
Bombardier, I'm holding it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out with this uncertainty, does it make sense to book some profit and then wait to re-enter?
So for booking the profit, I would suggest the mid Bollinger Band on the weekly chart looks good, target 89, and that's the level that's on the upper Bollinger Band daily chart as well. So if
Okay.
you are planning to book your profits, you could book your profits at 89. You could close 60% of your profits or even 70%, and the remaining you could book at around 92 or 91, which we saw on the weekly chart as well.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Okay, so with that, I think I have covered all of the requests in the chat. No, Oracle and Pfizer missed from Vivek, so let's take these two. Okay, Oracle, interesting. So yeah, so it was oversold and has had a reversal on RSI. Also, almost it was close to the oversold region and has had reversal. It almost touched the 200 EMA on the weekly chart, which could have been the strong resistance. Since the market or market buyers were closely watching it, so it got pulled up even before touching the 200 EMA. It has closed slightly above the lower Bollinger Band, which is positive, and the profit booking has happened at EMA 5 levels, which is expected. People, those who got quick profits, they have managed to book some profits. Looking at the daily chart, the Williams R is slightly downward and RSI has flattened. However, if you look at the candle is dragonfly, so it's still bullish to enter or hold if you have already entered Oracle. Have you entered or are you looking to enter? Vivek?
I just entered, man, on Friday. So after seeing the scenario, I see that there's a risk reward. It looks
Yeah,
pretty good, so I entered.
right. So probably it was ex dividend, so that's why people exited. Um, they would have held until the ex dividend, before the ex dividend date, and
Oh,
then some profit booking happened, and then now it's a good price for entering. If you have already entered, it's good to hold for the first target. For small quantity, you could exit at 142. The next is 154. This 154, you could book majority of your positions here. EMA 10 is 148, and then EMA 50 is 151. So 151 could be the level for booking majority of your profits. Here also we see the EMA 50 is at 151. Major quantity you could exit at these levels, and
yeah.
then 160 could be your last target for small quantity of your positions. 160 we saw on the weekly chart as well.
Okay, bye.
Then move Bollinger Band. Okay.
Sure, perfect.
Yeah. But in terms of the daily candle, it was a very good entry. So
Thanks, man.
that's good. Pfizer,
PFE.
yeah. Okay, so Pfizer was in the oversold with the last week's doji. Williams R has reversed. RSI has entered the oversold region. It has not reversed, but in terms of Williams R, it has given a reversal for entry. Uh, and looking on the daily chart, Williams R and RSI both have reversed up with the last green candle because it was at the lower Bollinger Band and it's in the oversold with indicators reversal. Uh, it's also at good price for entry. Vivek, have you entered this as well on Friday or are you looking to enter?
Yeah, man, I entered it on the CDR version. So it's at
Mhm.
like $10 or something on CDR. The
Okay.
same is true for Oracle. It's like 40 something on CDR. So I entered this at around 9.9 Canadian. So I'm expecting it to go to around 15, 16
Right.
in
Yeah.
Canadian.
So again, in terms of entry, because it was touching the lower Bollinger Band and has reversed, so it's good entry. And in terms of the target, the first target around 23, and then mid Bollinger Band at 24.50 would also be your first target because there was a small gap down here. So if TXX, um, TSX, and also this is on NYC, right?
Yeah.
So NYC has a short-term bullish trend, then it can reach the mid Bollinger price levels fairly quickly as well. If it reaches within 2 weeks' time, then you could hold some positions for the higher target of 25, 26 as well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, the 2560 is the mid Bollinger Band on the weekly chart. 2480, this could be a target that you could keep in the system. If you are not watching the market, and if you're watching, then you can keep target of 2635. This would be based on volume. So if the bullish move is with good volume, then you can keep some quantity for 26. Otherwise, book your profits around 25.
Okay, man.
Okay. All right. So it's 1 o'clock, and I've covered most of the requests from the chats. Any last question or last request from anyone for the day?
We just need to have these kind of calls every week, if possible, or every other week. That's the only request from my side.
Okay, sure. So we'll definitely keep that feedback in mind. And yeah, in terms of our availability, we also prefer that we do the analysis at least weekly. If weekly is not possible, bi-weekly, we'll try to schedule. So everyone benefits, and we all are on the same page and are able to take advantage of the market moves. So thanks, Vivek, for requesting that. We will keep that input. All right. So with that, thank you everyone for joining, and hope you all have a good profitable week with the short-term bullish move expected in the coming week. Uh, do take some trades to book your profits once the resistance levels that we have discussed reaches, or even other stocks or ETFs that you are trading. And do keep sharing in the GMT groups so others can benefit. And you could also uh, trade along with the others' views as well. So with that, good luck everyone, and see you all hopefully in the next week, or at least in the team chats. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Kamal.
Thank you, Kamal.